One common goal has been realized, and now 4 teams have their sights set on the ultimate prize, a place in history. After 23 years, Georgetown is back to the Final Four, with sons assuming the roles of their fathers, and 2 dramatic endings ensuring the Hoyas' trip to Atlanta.
And the Hoyas have pulled it off.
Ohio State also needed 2 memorable moments, a pair of freshman sensations, and a senior with unquestioned cool.
Oh, rejected it. Wow.
Familiar faces highlight the second national semifinal as Florida and UCLA rekindle last year's championship matchup.
The Gators, as good as it gets.
UCLA longs for revenge, bringing its tradition and toughness to Atlanta. Florida hopes for a repeat performance and to keep the Gator Nation celebrating. 4 remain, one dream to be realized in Atlanta.
Jordan, Michael Jordan. Smart takes the shot. Puts it up. Dreams to come true. As good as it gets.
Final Four Saturday has arrived again at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta as Atlanta plays host for the 3rd time to college basketball's biggest event. First up, it's Georgetown against Ohio State. Later, it's Florida and UCLA. And that much talked about rematch. We've got all regions of the country represented, 4 different conferences as well. Georgetown and Ohio State about to take the floor. Hello, friends. Jim Nantz along with Billy Packer. And the energy is arriving with the arrival of the Hoyas on the floor here at the Georgia Dome. Billy, I love this moment here before we get it all started, and what a firepower 4 we have.
Jim, as this season progressed, you saw there were about a half a dozen teams or so that were heads and shoulders above the field. 4 of them have made it. 4 giants in college basketball. Look at the conferences they come from, the parts of the country they come from, and the national championships they have won, including the team that won it last year, Florida.
Billy, let's take a look at the 2 teams and what to look for, beginning with Georgetown and the Hoyas. What about them?
Well, when you look at Georgetown, they're a team that wants to play close to the vest, keep the game in the 60s. They have 2 outstanding players. Jeff Green, despite the fact that he averages 14 points and 6 rebounds a game, you'd say, how good is that? But he may be one of the best all-around players to come along in quite some time. And in the middle, they have Roy Hibbert. Hibbert last year against Ohio State in the NCAA tournament was 7 for 13, 20 points, 14 rebounds. So he knows what it's like to go against Ohio State.
Billy, break down the Buckeyes for us.
Ohio State is a team that we know that has brought explosiveness to the inside. Greg Oden, one of the premier big men we've seen in college basketball in many, many years, is now playing with 2 hands. He started the year not able to play at all, then had to play with only 1 hand. Now he's playing with 2, and he's matched up with his high school teammate, Mike Conley, who is one of the best guards I've seen come into college basketball in many, many years. And when they're not getting it inside, they can go outside, the likes of Butler and Harris, and of course Lewis, who has been on fire in recent tournament games.
Folks, sit back and enjoy a great night of college basketball. The Final Four has arrived on CBS. Georgetown and Ohio State in the first national semifinal, and we have with us Sam Ryan reporting courtside. Sam?
Well, Jim, this is a new experience here at the Final Four for these Georgetown and Ohio State players, but both coaches telling me today that they really tried to downplay the magnitude, trying to stay as close to their normal routines as possible, but they did get some added words of encouragement for the Ohio State players. Head football coach Jim Tressel is in attendance tonight. He did send a text message to Thad Matta to read to his players, saying your Buckeye Nation is behind you. Play with great toughness. Jim?
All right, Sam, good to have you with us, and we'll be ready for the starting lineups and the first game tip in a moment.
CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the men's national semifinals is sponsored by Burger King, State Farm, Chevy, and by Bud Light.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Georgia Dome for tonight's national semifinal game between the Georgetown Hoyas and the Ohio State Buckeyes. Let's meet the starting lineups. At forward for Georgetown, a 6'9" junior from Hyattsville, Maryland, number 32, Jeff Green. At forward for Ohio State, a 6'7" senior from Springfield, Ohio, number 3, Ivan Harris. At forward for Georgetown, a 6'8" freshman from Baltimore, Maryland, number 3, DeJuan Summers. At guard for Ohio State, a 6'4" senior from Columbus, Ohio, number 12, Ron Lewis. At center for Georgetown, a 7'2" junior from Adelphi, Maryland, number 55, Roy Hibbert. At center for Ohio State, a 7-foot freshman from Indianapolis, Indiana, number 20, Greg Oden. At guard for Georgetown, a 6'1" junior from Harvest, Alabama, number 2, Jonathan Wallace. At guard for Ohio State, a 6'2" junior from Lima, Ohio, number 14, Jamar Butler. At guard for Georgetown, a 6'3" sophomore from New York, New York, number 21, Jesse Sapp. And at guard for Ohio State, a 6'1" freshman from Indianapolis, Indiana, number 1, Mike Conley Jr. And introducing the head coaches for Georgetown, John Thompson III. And for Ohio State, Thad Matta.
Well, Thad Matta, the youngest of the 4 coaches here, 39 years old, taking Ohio State to the Final Four in his 3rd year, and John Thompson III, just his 3rd year for the Hoyas, and the road to Atlanta for Georgetown. First, they went through Belmont before they had a matchup with their old Big East foe, Boston College. Big highlight moment by Patrick Ewing III, the winning shot by Green over Vanderbilt to get them into the regional final, where Wallace hit the 3 to send it to overtime, and they dominated the OT to cut down the nets. Meanwhile, for the Buckeyes, they were the 1 seed in their bracket. First through Central Connecticut State, then the comeback against Xavier with perhaps the shot of the tournament so far, Lewis tying it to send it to OT. Then the comeback of the tournament from 20 down against Tennessee just before halftime to pull it off with the saving block by Oden, who helped them slam the Tigers of Memphis in the regional final. So here we go, Billy. We got the Big Ten regular season and tournament champion Buckeyes against the Big East regular season and their tournament champion Georgetown Hoyas.
Jim, we talked about coaches getting locked in. John Thompson didn't even realize that Thad Matta wanted to go ahead and get with him. Did you see that? Yeah. And Thad looked at him as if like, hey, wait a second, we ought to shake hands before this game. But John was so locked in, he didn't even recognize him down the other end.
I saw Thad kind of point in his direction. Yeah. He's supposed to meet at midcourt. Tonight's game brought to you in HGTV by Harris Corporation, world leader in broadcast systems for high definition television and mobile media. Just chalk it up to little pregame jitters.
Well, these guys faced each other last year, the NCAA tournament. Georgetown coming out victorious in that one. And it's interesting when you think of Ohio State, they lost 69% of their scoring, 72% of the rebounding, and that shows you what these freshmen have meant to the veterans that returned.
All right, you don't have Hibbert jumping up against Oden. They always put Green in that position. And it is Oden controlling it to Conley. And just anxious to see how much they'll let the big guys play, who are meeting down low on the blocks to get an early feed into Oden.
The key to the ball game, Jim, is right here. How are they going to call the game inside? You notice that Hibbert got no help that time.
And I think an excellent call by the official in this respect. I think the game has to be refereed two ways. The traditional basketball, and then because it's the first time we've really had two guys that can look at each other in the eye playing in the low box, you got to let them play a little bit. But that was a foul.
Let's hope so. Only 18 seconds in. Hibbert picks up the foul, and one more coming for Oden.
And we know about Oden. Shot the ball left-handed from the foul shooting situation earlier in the year. Now back to his traditional right-hand shot. Amazing what he did with his left hand.
Long with both of them, and Green will set up the Hoyas down the floor for the first time. It's with Wallace.
But remember, a foul on Hibbert right off first possession.
Samp looked to go to Hibbert, but that wasn't there. Skip pass all the way on the baseline. Other side, Hibbert hook shot up and soft bounce off the back of the rim.
20 points, 14 rebounds last year against Terrence Dials, who was the Big Ten Player of the Year and a pretty good defensive as well as offensive center. Graduated from Ohio State. Illegal screen. We're 1-1 in fouls, Jim.
Ted Valentine called it. He is refereeing this game with Richard Cartmel and Mike Kitts.
Well, there's where Oden went out there. He cannot afford. It's going to be one thing to pick up fouls, one guy against the other, Hibbert and Oden, but they cannot pick up the cheap fouls as that one was. But it is one-on-one in the box, both ends.
One for each. That one sliding off, one foul each, and didn't take but a minute to get to that point, did it?
Summers coming off the great game against North Carolina.
Conley all the way. Short. Tipped out by Green to Sapp, but taken back by Conley, who was on the line.
Conley incredible with his quickness. 83 steals on the year for Ohio State, #1 in the Big Ten. He creates offense all by himself when he's got the ball in his hands, and he can disrupt you otherwise. There you see a 2-3 zone for the first time today. Thad Matta saying, I don't want that second foul on Oden this early. Nice step out by Green, not looking for his shot, though.
So freshman for Georgetown trying to give it up, but just a little too firm with the pass to Hibbert. Wasn't ready for it. Jim back over to Ohio State.
With Oden in there, that should have been a bounce pass. Had it been a bounce pass, Hibbert has an easy layup. When you've got a big guy like that, you either want to get it down there where his hands are so he can go ahead and take it, make the power shot, or get it way up above the rim so he can just dunk it away. Ohio State has broken to the 2-3 zone. Georgetown stays in their man-to-man.
That's Butler with a three, and he's good with that one.
Sapp and Wallace got caught inside screening each other. Can't give open looks to Butler, who had a pretty solid game last year in this ball game here. 12 points and 5 assists.
Really one of the unsung heroes of the Buckeye season. In the paint, back out Wallace. This is a shot he hit against Carolina, and he does it again.
Almost the same spot. One of the best pure shooters in college basketball from every respect. 49% from three. That's interesting. Green on Conley on that switch.
And Sapp on Butler. And Hibbert follows Oden out high. Going to go back to Oden. And they draw the second one on Oden.
Thad Matta comes out of his chair. Obviously, right away, Terwilliger has to come in. The worst nightmare that Thad Matta could have imagined. Oden picks up 2 fouls in less than 2.5 minutes.
Well, we've been talking between the two of us all week, hoping we'd get to see these two guys just kind of go at it. But we have now 2 on Oden, 1 on Hibbert, but you don't have any disagreement with the call so far?
I don't, Jim. And what that amounts to is inexperience on the part of Oden. He cannot go out and make that cheap foul defensively, and he has to understand people are going to pick up charges. He's going to have to sit a long time in this first half.
So Terwilliger, Matt Terwilliger Jr. from Troy, Ohio is in, and that should be basket interference, and it is. Take it away. Ball was over the cylinder.
And you saw what happened right away. Green says, uh-oh, Oden's not in the game. Watch me maneuver. And no question, that ball in the cylinder. Hibbert should have left it alone. I think it would have gone in anyway.
Definitely.
There's that stutter step by Conley and a kick out.
Well, I tell you, Hibbert kind of reached in, too. He had to be careful.
Yeah, he picks up a lot of cheap fouls the same way, Jim. He'll try to do more than he has to.
And that's Lewis to Harris. And the senior hits a 3 of his own.
Harris did not score in the game last year, but as we know, he can have huge games from the outside as he did against North Carolina earlier in the year. This Ohio State team lost at North Carolina, at Florida, and at Wisconsin. Three of the best teams in the country on their home floors.
Both teams protected their own home floors this year. Did not lose a home game on either side, and that's a strip away as they tried to feed Hibbert. Up ahead is Butler. Down low, Conley. Beautiful teamwork by the Buckeyes right there.
Great feed, and what made that all happen was Lewis's anticipation from the weak side that ball was going to be thrown right over the top of Terwilliger. Weak side helped by the fifth-year senior transfer.
Jumper, Summers, strong. Wallace
Nice
tip to Hibbert. How about that? Underneath. Too far underneath, and Green touched it last. It's going back to the Buckeyes. We take our first break, and the early story is Oden is down with 2 fouls already. The 19-year-old freshman likely to sit the rest of the half, Billy, with the 2 fouls.
Well, I would assume so, unless Georgetown would get out on a tremendous break. And Jim, he had, as you can remember, 5 fouls against Xavier. Had to sit down, but Conley did a great job in the overtime. One of those was that foul that could have been called intentional. And then against Tennessee, he only played 18 minutes, Jim. He was 2 for 2, 9 points. So you can see what foul trouble has caused for a guy who's extremely inexperienced.
They brought in some more subs, including Othello Hunter. Gives him a presence in the post, number 45. Here's a freshman.
I like the switch that time. Hibbert stayed inside instead of getting caught outside as he did so often in the North Carolina game. There he is outside, and he gets in trouble out there with cheap fouls.
This is another freshman, right at it. Get to mention it was Daquan Cook, the other freshman. So we got Cook and Leidy coming into the game. 2 more freshmen, and Terwilliger stays on the floor with Hunter joining him down low. Now, Georgetown still with its first 5 on the floor.
And looking to get that ball to Hibbert on Terwilliger inside. Hibbert staying outside. Green is saying, hey, get in where you belong. Here he is out here in the top of the key. Now he slides down. There he goes.
And that works to perfection.
Not much at all that Ohio State's going to do against that. Hunter is going to have to go ahead and guard him, not Terwilliger. Hunter, although he's shorter, has got those long arms and plays as a 7-footer and a good shot blocker.
Conley trying to use the screen by Hunter, puts up the soft shot.
Jim, the best I have seen in college basketball in many years of being able to get inside about 15 to 12 feet and shoots the floater with right or left hand. He is just great at that shot. Keeps that dribble alive.
And that's Conley defending on Wallace.
Pretty good footwork on his part right there, too, defensively.
Conley got a hand on that. Shot clock is an issue. 10 to go.
Ball in the hands of a pretty good guy here in Sapp.
Inside the paint, and Conley has the quickest hands of all. Bounce pass to Cook. Lays it up left hand too strong. Terwilliger taps it in. Put back.
Good hustle by Ohio State now on 2 fast break opportunities, making the best of it. Summers telegraphed the pass inside from too big a distance. Sapp should have kept the ball in his hands. Freshman having problems.
Yep, Conley takes it away from Hibbert.
And again, Green is very quiet in this ball game.
That's Cook missing the open 3 from the corner. Snap pass up ahead.
Oh, he had it.
Did Summers touch it? No,
yes.
They say Ohio State last. I thought maybe Summers had a fingertip on it. Didn't you?
Yes, I certainly did. I thought that ball nipped off his hands, but it was a pretty good idea.
Near the end of this game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team to honor their determination and outstanding play. Chevrolet makes a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. Chevy, an American Revolution. Patrick Ewing Jr. into the game for the first time, number 33.
Hibbert out. Green now sets up down low.
And that's Terwilliger taking it away from Tyler Crawford, who just checked in as well for the Hoyas, number 22,
well, Jim,
one of their co-captains.
Here we are at the 13-minute mark, and both of the big men are on the bench. No factor in this game so far to speak of.
Hunter gets Sapp on him, puts up the shot, down and out, and Green comes flying through for the board.
So far, and you see Ohio State going back to man-to-man when they get Hibbert out of the ball game. We have not seen Georgetown employ those backdoor cuts that they're so famous for. Got Green down inside, and he's a great passer.
Wallace getting a step on Leidy, and it rolls out.
Nice offensive rebounding attempt by Ewing. No block out on him.
Ohio State, since Oden went out of the game, 9-2 Buckeyes since Oden went out with the second foul. Doing just fine without him so far.
Now, Jim, we know this club, and it probably helped them. When Oden didn't play those first 7 games, they knew what it was like to play without him. Played that incredible game at North Carolina, almost won there. And there's Conley with his great maneuvering.
Wow, like you said, can he penetrate?
Jim, he is so quick, and he has such great ball control. He dribbles so low to the floor, you cannot take it away from him. And he's never in a hurry, but yet he's so quick. As John Wooden often said, nice crossover.
Corner, Ewing passing up the open shot. Now Green in the paint. Dish, Ewing, in and out.
Couldn't ask for a better pass by Green. But again, the young man is so unselfish. He has an opportunity now maybe to get involved and take over this ball game, but is content to pass.
Well, it's Conley. He's got the long arms of Ewing guarding. Now switch. Trying to work it on Green, back out.
Shows you how good a defensive player Green is. He stayed right with Conley, better than any of the guards had so far in this ball game.
And then Green crashes the boards for the rebound. Georgetown only 33% here in the early going.
Green moving around inside, wanting to handle that ball and look for cutters. Hunter doing a pretty good job staying in front of him.
Ewing, front of the rim.
Georgetown not getting the shots by the guys they'd like to be taking them.
Cross-court pass, Cook. And he's the top 6 man out of the Big Ten this year. Another decorated freshman.
Jimmy had 6 20-point games so far in this year. Most of them coming in the first 25 games that they played. He has not had those big outputs since, but you know he's capable of it.
Here he is, Cook. Slicing, putting it up, and that spins out.
I think Green has gotten every rebound the last 3 or 4 minutes. But Ohio State doing a pretty nice job defensively against Georgetown, and Coach Thompson not satisfied at all the way his team is moving.
Timeout, Georgetown. Yes, we've got Oden, we've got Hibbert, but the biggest man on the floor so far, Michael Conley. Welcome back to the Georgia Dome. Jim Nance and Billy Packer. Hard to believe, Billy, it's the first Final Four since '98 with 4 teams from 4 conferences.
Well, the SEC doubled up last year. We know about the other conferences that have sent the ACC, the Big Ten. They've really done a fine job with those double ups, but I think it's a lot nicer when you have teams coming from different conferences from around the country. Hibbert back into the ball game, a key here. Ohio State goes into a 2-1-2 zone.
Jeremiah Rivers in for the first time for the Hoyas too, and Wallace for the second time in this game is good from beyond the arc.
You have to fault Ohio State's players for not really thinking coming out of that timeout. Wallace is the guy, if you're in the zone, you can never leave. Forget where the ball is rotated. He's far and away the best shooter that Georgetown has on the floor.
Georgetown had gone 5 minutes without a basket before that one. Hunter in the corner, not where they want him. Goes all the way out high to Lewis, who's been quiet so far. What a tournament he's had. Driving on Green, trying to draw the foul and doesn't get it. Hibbert gets the rebound. Can you believe this, Billy? We're 11 minutes into the game, and they've called 3 fouls in all. And those are, of course, 2 on Oden and 1 on Hibbert. That's it. No one else has committed a foul.
And now we have Ohio State going back to man-to-man. Hibbert outside, ready to pick and roll a little bit, get inside on Hunter. He and Green playing a little 2-man game right now. Hibbert likes to have the man. Now, you notice Hunter did not come out to get Hibbert at all, so that's not going to work where he hits to the side and rolls inside because Hunter's waiting for him.
2 seconds on the shot clock. Rivers dumps, and he had to put it up instead for a shot. Didn't know it.
Interesting piece of defensive strategy by Ohio State, not guarding Hibbert when he goes way outside.
14-10 Buckeyes. Aerial coverage of Atlanta brought to you by Goodyear. here at the Georgia Dome. It hosted in 2002 when Maryland won the title here, and so far it's just 14-10. Billy, this game's speeding along with only 3 fouls called.
Well, that's true. There's 3 fouls called, but I think, Jim, the real key to this ball game is Jeff Green. He has not really got himself involved offensively. When he does best and Georgetown best, he takes some shots, as he did last weekend, 10 for 17 against UNC. Took 21 shots in that Big East tournament win against Notre Dame. And 18 shots against Ohio State last year.
Lewis was in there. Harris puts it up, but again, no foul called. Yes, there is. So the putback is disallowed, and the call is against Rivers of the Hoyas. Vote for your Pontiac game-changing performance of the tournament at ncaasports.com/Pontiac. $100,000 scholarship contribution from Pontiac is on the line. So Ivan Harris, he's the last holdover for the Buckeyes to have played for Coach Jim O'Brien before Thad Matta took over this program, which had a lot of things going wrong with it for sure. When Matta came on board, the team was not even eligible for the NCAA tournament.
Up to the point where when he signed Conley and Oden, he told them, if we go on probation and you cannot participate in the NCAA tournament, I'll release you from your scholarship commitment. An honest move by a coach, and the players stood by him, and when they were not ruled ineligible for this tournament, they stayed with their commitment to go to Ohio State.
Last year, Matta didn't even know his team was going to be eligible for the tournament, the 06 tournament, until late in the year, and they went all the way up to a number 2 seed before Georgetown upset them in the second round. Hoyas inside. No question on that one.
You see Hibbert move from the top of the key on down. Hunter is trying to play kind of a one-man zone down inside. Not able to handle the big man if he gets it that close to the basket. And where is Oden? Those 2 fouls have kept him on the bench for this all but 2 minutes for this half.
That's Harris. Put back, no. Third chance. No foul called. And Rivers pops out of the pack.
Hibbert is running the court.
So is Summers. Hibbert knocks it down.
Well, give the big man credit. He ran the floor. And how many times have we seen, Jim, when the big guy runs the floor, even if he doesn't get the pass, he's always there for the putback. Oden does a nice job on that when he's in the ball game.
Hibbert has 8 of the Hoyas 14. We're back within 1. Lewis. And here's a call against Georgetown. And that is going to be on Hibbert. His second. So they finally have drawn 2 on the Georgetown center, who's had a flash of his own on the offensive end. Hibbert joins Oden now with 2 fouls apiece. Hibbert, 10 minutes, 8 points. But all this talk, or forget talk, hype about this being the best matchup of centers at a Final Four since Olajuwon and Ewing, it is not.
Well,
anything like it.
Jim, I want to get back to the fact of a lack of experience. We're talking about a freshman who only hasn't even played a full season. There's Patrick Ewing. He played as a freshman. Obviously, to remember, in 1982, started out that incredible game between Georgetown and North Carolina with shot blocks that were goaltends. And matter of fact, James Worthy was on the board, and he didn't have a basket that went in the first 3 attempts that he had, but they were all points.
So Lewis at the line. He was the one who drew the second on Hibbert. He didn't think it was much of a foul.
Well, it was a very good dribble move by Lewis, though. He knew that if he took the traditional shot, that Hibbert was just going to pick it off. So he did that extra little bounce, and Hibbert couldn't react to it.
The Columbus kid. I say kid, he's a senior. He's actually, what a March Madness for him. He graduated right in the middle of the tournament. The day after he hit the shot that stunned Xavier, sent it to overtime. The next day, he got to walk down the aisle and pick up his diploma, graduating with a sociology degree.
A 2-2-1 full court trap there, but not very aggressive. No problem for Georgetown getting down the court. All it did was take off a little bit of time on the clock. Here we have Hibbert out now. Green goes back down the inside.
Tough pass. Lighty read it all the way. Conley flips. Lewis fouled on the way up. No, they call him for traveling. Outside first.
Never really got a handle on that, but a pretty good job by Lighty to get this ball moving up court. Look at Conley's quick hands. Actually should have been able to put that away. Conley made a better pass than I thought he was capable of doing at that situation. And here you have that 2-2-1 full court pressure. Sapp looks it over. Nobody in the middle against this press. They better be careful. Good job by Lighty. He was an excellent defender.
Yes, he came up in a hurry on Rivers. They had the double team. Now back out to Rivers.
Thad Matta thinks Lighty can be a guy that can maybe guard defensively 4 different positions. He showed good activity there.
How about Jeff Green, Big East Player of the Year, 14 minutes into the game without a field goal attempt.
Well, I only have one thing that I like to criticize, and I don't like to criticize about him, but it's the fact that he does not offensively get involved often enough, particularly early in games where he has to take them over.
Quite a play by Hunter. And that's a block with that ball so close to just being a mere lay-in.
That's his 41st block on the year. When you take Ian Oden together, that's 141 blocks. That's shutting a lot of people down inside.
If it feels like Ohio State's gone a while without scoring or hitting a shot from the floor, I should say, that's because they've gone now over 6 minutes without a field goal. They've missed their last 7 shots. They've got 2 on the shot clock. Lewis just in time, but a whistle first anyway.
Sapp on a reach in. Did a good job taking away the outside shot, but chopped him. You see a lot of turnovers here by this Georgetown club. It's the one thing when you look up at the scoreboard, you'd say that Georgetown's in control of this game, but Ohio State and Thad Matta have done a tremendous job keeping in the lead without their big man available.
It was the first foul on Sapp, so Lewis, as Oden knows it's going to be a second-half game for him. Wallace back on the floor, and coming in for the first time is Vernon Macklin for Georgetown, number 1.
Lewis, Jim, has had a tremendous NCAA tournament. 3 games over 20 points. Not only the amount of scoring that he's had, but big shots that he took at a time when his team really needed it.
And again, maybe the biggest single shot so far of the tournament. Certainly one of the top 2 or 3. The shot he hit against Xavier. Another one forced. Conley, it's a 2-on-1 game. Butler other side, lays it in.
Well, this is a terrific job by Ohio State turning Georgetown over. And again, I'm going to look at Green and say, young man, you've got to come to the ball, get aggressive, want a shot.
20-14, Ohio State. And finally make the shot from the floor for the first time in 7 minutes.
Thad Matta up off his bench, really getting his team to play aggressive defense, even though we're in zone.
Sapp left wide open, hits the 3.
When you look out here at this Ohio State team, I realize Hunter's listed 6'7", but this is a small club he's got on the floor. Basically 4 guards.
Conley puts up a quick one, and he knocks down a long one.
How good a player is that young man?
Yeah, I think he's the best player on the floor.
No, there's no question about it. Although, and from a 3-point shooting standpoint, he's only making 30% on the year. And that's only the 64th one he's even attempted.
Sapp going for 2 straight. Wide of the mark. Chased down by Lewis.
Again, Green with no touch.
Lewis unattended, had it to the paint, to the corner. Now Butler rattles out. Hunter trying to save it. Lighty bounces it off of Hoya. And it's staying with Ohio State with that nifty work.
Smart play by Lighty.
Thad Matta races out on the floor to welcome his team with a 6-point lead. We've got Florida and UCLA waiting in the wings to rekindle their championship matchup of a year ago. It's the first time ever, Billy, we've got all 4 teams arriving at the Final Four with at least 30 wins, including last year's finalists about to meet again.
Look at the quickness Ohio State is showing right now, Jim, with this 4-guard lineup. Willinger's the guy in the middle, and so far Georgetown has not been able to adjust to a team that's used to playing this way, particularly with Oden's foul trouble and him not being involved with the team early in the year.
Almost stolen again. First shot of the game for Green, and it's a good one. Lewis had scored at the other end.
Critical for Georgetown to get Green going offensively. And how about the way Conley just orchestrates the game?
This Lighty has quite a presence on the defensive end for Ohio State, isn't he? Almost as though watching Green that time that John Thompson said, hey, Jeff, we've got to get your offense as a part of the equation here.
Tommy might have given that ball up a little too quick. Here's Green inside.
That's what we're talking about. Green will go to the line now. So they come right out of the timeout. and 2 straight touches for Jeff Green. Coming up, AT&T at the half, and Greg and Clark and Seth will analyze the first half and the awarding of the player and coach of the year and an AT&T Naismith Watch update, all coming up on AT&T at the half. That was on Leidy, his first. So here we go with Jeff Green shooting a pair. He had 22 in the win over North Carolina, and here we've got Jeremiah Rivers returning to the floor. Sap out.
Green, the 6th Georgetown player of the year in the Big East. Young man was player of the year regular season, player of the year in the Big East tournament. He's had a sensational season.
That one slides off the front of the rim, and Terwilliger having to go a good part of the way here in the first half, with Oden sitting down after 2 minutes and 40 seconds with 2 fouls.
Macklin in trouble. Conley gives up the ball. Thought he might keep it with a big man on him. There he goes.
Pass Macklin with ease and lays it in.
Oh, boy. You know, that is just smart basketball. He realized he had the big man, passed it. Ohio State wisely got the ball right back to him. He realized it was no match at all for Macklin to try to stop him with the dribble, and took him.
Flip it inside. Terwilliger trying to defend. Got a hand on it. Tipped out. And Wallace
stuck his nose in there.
Yes, he did. To Green for the lay-in. Give Wallace all the credit for Georgetown salvaging that trip down the floor.
Absolutely, Jim. He stuck his nose right in what could have been a tough play to make. Wasn't afraid at all. Conley setting the stage for everything Ohio State is doing.
That's Butler. And a mismatch here as Macklin's out on him. Terwilliger has Wallace down low.
Oh, great move by Butler as well. Now what you have, you've got 2 outstanding point guards on the floor, Butler and Conley, taking advantage of the mismatches with big men guarding him.
And away from the ball, whistle.
This is going to be
called on Terwilliger.
Yep, he was holding Green way away from the ball. Not a smart foul.
First foul on Terwilliger. Green now has scored the last 5 Hoya points, but didn't get started here until the last minute of play in terms of offensive production. Had hit the glass with authority, 6 rebounds.
But Jim, when you're a player of his magnitude, you have got to take over a game like this. It's drifting. Neither team really getting in control, with the exception of Ohio State doing a nice job with their transition game.
Ohio State with Oden out since, again, the opening couple of minutes, +7 on the scoreboard.
Leidy's on Green, giving up a lot of size. We know he's a good defender. He's giving up a lot here.
The line for Green.
Foul before the pass. Or they call a push inside.
Call on Wallace with the charge.
Had a good idea there, because Leidy, although good defender, is about 6'4". Green's close to about 6'9". He's going to have a problem on that lob.
Got less than a minute to go here, Billy, in a very choppy first half in Atlanta.
Well, certainly the big man matchup that we anticipated seeing, and one of the things that could prevent it with foul trouble, and we knew that, and that's what happened early on the ball game. So Oden, a no factor, playing under 3 minutes in his first half. Hibbert doing a good job in the number of minutes he played, very productively. Not having to play against Oden, however. And there's a 2-3 zone now by Georgetown.
Hibbert had 8 points before he had to sit with 2 fouls. Over to Butler, open. That one dips around and out. Underneath, last touch by Ohio State, and Georgetown can, in fact, take the last shot if it wants.
Tim, when you're down like this, I don't think it's a good idea just to wait for the last one. See if you can get something going right now with this small team that Ohio State has on the floor playing the zone, but it looks like they're going to pull it out and just go for one.
Well, they're trailed by as many as 8.
Now, the key guy that if you're Ohio State in the zone, and I think Thad Matta is saying maybe jump out of it, keep an eye on Wallace. Make sure he doesn't get the good look.
Green.
There he is.
Wallace down low. Dish. Oh, and Hunter thought he had another clean block instead of foul call with 4 seconds.
Strong pass that time by Green, hitting Wallace.
Monday, Dave's bringing his A game to the Late Show with stupid human tricks. It's David Letterman, Monday on America's #1 network. So at the line, he'll shoot one more. Summers
Had 7 for 10 against North Carolina. Big 20.6 rebounds in that ball game. A freshman who is destined to be an outstanding player at Georgetown.
And the second one. Let's see Ohio State shot selection here with 4 seconds. This guy can take it almost the distance. Conley, they don't get to cut him off, and they get no foul call either. So that's it. It was 8 at one time. They trim it to 4. 27-23. Buckeyes lead it after the opening 20 minutes, and Greg Gumbel and company coming up here on CBS.
CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the men's national semifinals is sponsored by Lowe's, Mercedes-Benz, The Hartford, and by Subway Restaurants. CBS Sports presents AT&T at the half. Singular is now the new AT&T.
Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel. Welcome to AT&T at the half. After 20 minutes of play here in the Georgia Dome, Ohio State by 4 over Georgetown, 27-23. I'm joined by Clark Kellogg and Seth Davis. Right off the bat, the story of this game, Greg Oden out of the game less than 3 minutes in with 2 personals.
Well, I tell you, if you're a fan or an announcer or a coach of Greg Oden, you hate to see this happen, but he picked up a couple of early fouls. He got one trying to set a screen. That's one you don't want to get. And then he got one inside. This was a tough call. I thought Jeff Green was in position but flopped a bit. But nonetheless, Oden only able to play a couple minutes. In his absence, Roy Hibbert able to get going inside. The Buckeyes had no answer for him if he caught it that close to the rim. And then following shots off the offensive glass, Hibbert scored a lot in limited time himself because he picked up his second foul later on right here at about the midway point of that. And you take a look at the big guys so far. Oden, goose eggs across the point and rebound column, only 3 minutes. Hibbert was effective when he was out there, as was Jeff Green, although it took a while for Jeff Green to get his first field goal. He went 17 minutes in that first half before he scored.
Seth, let's talk about those uncharacteristic Georgetown turnovers.
Well, in some ways it plays to Ohio State's advantage not to have Oden in there because they get back to that up and down kind of game, and Georgetown is certainly helping them out. 9 turnovers in the first half. This was a problem for them during the season. They actually committed more turnovers this year than their opponents, and you can see Thad Matta clearly dictated to his team, when you get a chance to run, you run. This plays directly to Ohio State's advantage. Obviously, Oden's going to have a good second half for them to win the ball game, but to the degree that they can get that transition game going, they are effective. And it's unfortunate that Mike Conley's has such jitters being a freshman in the Final Four. I mean, he has unbelievable poise. He leads all scorers with 11 points, and his ability to get in the lane against Georgetown's defense in the half court is a huge key. He's 5 for 6 from the floor, made his only 3. Incredible poise. He has been the best player on the floor, and if Georgetown can't counter his ability to penetrate, the Buckeyes will win.
All right, guys, 27-23, Ohio State at halftime. It's time for another edition of our Naismith Watch presented by AT&T. Let's talk about 2 of the finalists, AC Law and Orlando Tucker. Seth?
Well, AC Law was one of the great clutch shooters in America this year. The Cousy Award winner, 5th in the Big 12 in scoring at 18 a game. He led A&M to their first Sweet 16 since 1980. A terrific season for that man. And we had Orlando Tucker on the set. What great poise, what great maturity and intelligence. The Big Ten Player of the Year, the all-time leading scorer in Wisconsin history. Truly left his mark in Madison.
All right, Seth, and now you can be a part of basketball history. Text the word VOTE to 87654 to vote for the winner of the 2007 Naismith Trophy. The fans' vote counts for 25% of the total. It is springtime. That can mean just one thing. It's time now for the presentation of the Chevrolet Player and Coach of the Year awards. Past recipients of the Players Award include Michael Jordan of North Carolina, Kenyon Martin of Cincinnati, and last year's winner, Adam Morrison of Gonzaga. Coaches honored in the past include Mike Krzyzewski of Duke, Bruce Weber of Illinois, and Villanova's Jay Wright. And now, Leslie Visser with this year's winners.
Today we conclude the Chevrolet Scholarship Program for 2006-2007 by presenting the awards for Player and Coach of the Year as selected by the CBS Sports staff. Again this year, we are honored to have Ed Pieper, the General Manager of Chevrolet, with us to help present these awards. Ed, it's great to have you with us again tonight.
Thank you, Leslie. It's great to be here and back with you and this national TV audience as Chevy salutes the #1 player and coach in NCAA basketball. This is our 37th year of the Chevrolet Scholarship Program, and in that time, as America's brand, we've donated more than $9 million to the general scholarship funds of America's colleges and universities. Along with our 4,000 Chevrolet dealers nationwide, it's our way of giving back to the communities across this great country. And today, we pay tribute to the achievements of the best in NCAA college basketball. First is our Chevrolet Player of the Year, and what an amazing story from the University of Texas. It's freshman phenom Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant had an outstanding first year for the Longhorns. During the regular season, he posted 9 30-point games and was the only player in the country to rank in the top 10 nationally in both scoring and rebounding. Kevin was named as the Big 12 Freshman and Player of the Year.
Kevin, congratulations on an outstanding season, and it's my pleasure to present you with this trophy as the Chevrolet Player of the Year, and a $5,000 General Scholarship Fund donation will be made in your name to the University of Texas.
I want to thank CBS and Chevrolet for presenting me with this award. Like everything in basketball, it's a team sport. I would like to thank my teammates and everybody at Texas, and when I get back, we're going to share this.
Now it's time to name the Chevrolet Coach of the Year, and this is another first-year success story. In his initial season as head coach, Washington State's Tony Bennett was recognized as the Pac-10 Conference Coach of the Year.
Tony Bennett guided his Cougars to a 26-8 record. Washington State also earned its first NCAA tournament berth in 13 years. Coach Bennett enjoyed the unwavering support of his predecessor on the Cougars bench, his father, Dick Bennett.
Coach Bennett, congratulations on an amazing first season with the Cougars. I'm proud to present you with this trophy as the Chevrolet Coach of the Year, and a $5,000 General Scholarship Fund donation will be made in your name to Washington State University.
Thanks, Ed, and thank you to Chevrolet and CBS for this great honor. As always, it's a reflection on the young men in my program who really bought in, my coaching staff, who as a first-year head coach kind of held my hand the whole way through. And lastly, I'd like to thank my father, who for 3 years laid the foundation for our basketball program. And this award is truly a blessing for me. Thank you.
Congratulations to you, Kevin Durant, and to you, Coach Bennett. And thanks again, Ed, and to Chevrolet for your long-standing commitment to college athletics and academics through the Chevrolet Scholarship Program.
All right, Leslie, thank you. Look ahead to the second half now, guys. We've talked about this throughout the tournament. No team likes to lose a Greg Oden, but Ohio State is very well equipped to play if he continues to be in foul trouble.
Well, they become, I think, a little more aggressive defensively on the perimeter. They force a lot of turnovers. For Georgetown, it's simple. Squeeze the orange, because when they do, they'll get good shots. If they don't, they're going to have trouble beating Ohio State.
I'll tell you what, it may sound odd to make this point, but Ohio State better play as well with Greg Oden as they played without him. A lot of that is your mindset, as Clark said. Still attack at the defensive end and try to run at every opportunity. And from Georgetown's point of view, you have to get Jeff Green more involved in the offense. You either go to him or go through him, get him touches and get him looks. He led the team in assists this year, so even if he's not going to take a lot of shots and score a lot of points, he's going to create good offense for you. He's really their key guy.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly there, Seth. He's not really an assertive guy, but I think he'll look to be more assertive here in the second half because his team will need it. And then Roy Hibbert, if he stays out of foul trouble, presents another challenge for Ohio State defensively.
You know, the way both these teams have had to come from behind, you may see them waging a battle to see who can fall behind late in the stages of the game. 27-23, Ohio State in the lead at halftime. Thank you for watching AT&T at the half. We'll get you back to Jim and Billy for the second half of Georgetown and Ohio State after this.
CBS Sports presents AT&T at the half. Singular is now the new AT&T. CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the men's national semifinals is sponsored by E-Trade, Coca-Cola, Miller Lite, and by Pontiac.
Here is the in-game box score powered by CSTV, the 24-hour college sports channel from CBS Sports. And Conley, the man who made the biggest difference in that first half, Billy, He had 11 points to lead the way for the Buckeyes, a couple of assists.
And Jim totally orchestrated the game. We've all said throughout the course of the year that this is one of the really great point guards in America. He is so smart. He knows how to play the game. You very seldom see him take three-point shots, but when he does, he can be effective. The young man is quite a leader.
Involved in 7 of his team's 10 field goals, with 5 field goals of his own with those 2 assists. And Oden and Hibbert, for them, it's going to be like a... Well, Hibbert did, of course, see more playing time in that first half, but for Oden, it's like playing a 20-minute ball game here today.
I wonder what Joey Dorsey is saying, the young man from Memphis that said that he thought Oden was overrated in that ball game playing against Oden. He had no points and just 3 rebounds in 19 minutes. He must have been 1 game off in his prognosis, but I would expect that Oden come out, do a much better job in this second half, but he did not warm up, in my estimation, hard enough coming out in the second half after sitting that long. He really doesn't even have a sweat up now. It's kind of like a heavyweight boxer. They like him to go out on the floor with a sweat.
They just really went out there, Billy, with a casual layup.
Yeah,
line.
sure did. Here you see the zone defense. Oden playing down inside.
Hibbert's a good passer. We saw that last week at the East Regional. There's a baseline open shot for Wallace.
Beautiful bounce pass down inside, attacking the zone from underneath behind where Oden is, and so he never knew that there was somebody coming down in that area. He has to be careful setting screens. He almost picked up another one.
Down to Oden. Too strong with the shot, but Harris was there to anticipate.
Smart play by Harris because he realized that Green had left him to go over and help out on the double team. Nobody there to block out. A guard should have pulled down to help out a little bit there on a rotation.
Sapp, 3. Rattles out. Summers flies through. Last touched by Oden.
See that ball down inside. Now see, Green came over from the weak side. Nobody fell down from the outside to get in the way of Harris, so he had an easy putback. Happens often when you try to double team a big man inside.
Hibbert wanted
wow,
it.
Wide open.
What they waited for. He had only Conley on him.
Well, Oden was in no man's land in that particular defense. And one of the things that really helps when you have tall men that can make that pass like Summers and Green, they throw right over the top of guards' heads. Traditional Ohio State move to get Oden the ball down there. Here he comes out for the little pick and roll. He's wide open himself. Guard on him.
Yep. Well, Hibbert gets back in time. Still over the top. They try to get it over Sapp.
Terrible
bounces
pass.
it over to Green. Green looking around. Bounce pass. Got Summers. Oden tried to block it, but no.
There's Green on one of those really fine passes that he has.
Hoyas have come back to tie the game.
Well, didn't our studio guys say maybe Ohio State was playing pretty well without Oden?
Yes, they did, and they were.
Here he is.
Low. He's got all kinds of position. Hibbert on his back.
And give Hibbert some credit right there, realizing that he was out positioned, did not try to block that shot by Oden. Good pivot work by Oden. He can really move his feet when he gets it down inside. But notice how he's standing up defensively, not in a game at all.
Boy, Ohio State's been lost on at least 3 defensive trips.
Jim, I'll fault Oden on that play. He is standing straight up in the air, not in a position to get back under there and defend. If he's not going to guard Hibbert out that far, he's got to protect the basket.
Wallace has 10 for Georgetown. Game is tied at 31. Oden, again, Hibbert being challenged, and Hibbert comes through. That's back of the rim blues for Oden.
Again, Hibbert not trying to block his shot.
Georgetown has not led since 6-5. Got a chance to take the lead right here.
They're showing some quickness in the second half, Jim, that they did not show in the first half.
Now it's Hibbert over Oden. He too finds the back of the rim. Conley surveying. It is Butler passing it inside. Harris.
Ivan Harris.
Here's the way this tournament's gone, Billy. It seems like it's almost an advantage to trail in the second half. Both of these teams have trailed in the second half of their last 3 NCAA tournament games.
Good back there. Door cut by Green, picked up fairly well by Harris.
Sapp, that's for the lead. Yes, Georgetown takes the lead by 1.
Thad Matta a little upset. He's playing a little bit of a 1-3-1 matchup now defensively with Oden in the middle. The man running the baseline in that particular zone is not getting the job done. Most of the time it's been Lewis.
Conley, Hibbert
there to meet him. Georgetown on a little run. Up ahead to Green, too wide on the pass.
Another turnover by Georgetown. They had 9 in the first half.
Conley, he's left open. 3. Harris tips it to Oden. Under the basket, blocked by Hibbert. Harris off the glass is
There's
fouled.
his third. That's Hibbert reaching down. He did a terrific job on the man he was guarding and then didn't move his feet. Picks up his third on a reach.
Harris will be at the line when we come back. Hoyas were down 8 at one time in the first half, but now lead. Billy, a lot of action down low here, early second half.
Jim, anytime you get the other team with great inside position, you're in serious trouble. And there's Hibbert, makes the block. But now watch what he does now. He'll come all the way across the lane after making the block. And then he hits Harris. I fault the Georgetown teammates to not get over there, set some screens, and get inside of Harris.
So Hibbert's out, Ewing's in. You can watch exclusive live video from Amen Corner at the Masters with Amen Corner Live and bonus play-by-play coverage of the entire field throughout the tournament 1 hour prior to telecast with Masters Extra. CBSSportsLine.com/Masters Live and Masters.org. So Harris will shoot another one, and again, Hibbert out with the 3.
Jim, look at the score, 34-34. This will be the first time Ohio State finds themselves with an advantage. 8 men on the floor, Georgetown without one, and that's a push.
They're going to be on Green.
Yep, they rode Oden right out from underneath the basket. Let's see if Ohio State can take advantage now of what they have. They have a big man there. Is Green going to guard him, or is John Thompson going to go zone? They go zone out of bounds. And they stay in it. They stay in the 2-3 zone. Yep. Now, if you're Oden, what you want to do is be in position to get everything that comes off the glass now against this zone. He can get a lot of putbacks here.
Gets it in the paint, kicks it back out. Calling for it with Green behind him. Over to Harris, jump.
There he is.
There's one chance. Double team, triple team, but dunks it.
Jim, that is exactly what he ought to do. Not worry about scoring so much, but be in position to get every putback. Georgetown will have no answer.
At this end, he's defending Green.
And if you're Green, you've got to make him guard somebody. Great help out by Lewis.
Harris takes middle. Now to Conley. Conley goes other side. What kind of spin did he have on that?
The young man is always under control. And he's got the left hand or the right hand. I just love watching him play.
He's got 13, top Buckeye. First 5 points to Ohio State once Hibbert set with the 3rd foul.
And if you're Georgetown, get the ball in Green's hands and make Oden play Green off the dribble.
Yeah, they called it.
Good defense by Ohio State. Now Oden realized what he must do. Green has got to realize in this ball game what he has to do. Oden's guarding him. Green's going to have to put the ball on the floor, try to pick up that 3rd foul on Oden off the dribble.
They hold up a sign from the Ohio State bench, one of the assistants. 1 triangle right, it says. Here we go. Conley's going to go to that right side. It's a way to feed it in Oden.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to get Oden the ball and let him maneuver one-on-one. The reason for that is Georgetown is double and triple teaming him down inside. Where he can score is on the missed shots right now, because there'll be nobody can block him out.
Georgetown's turned it over its last 3 trips.
Another thing Georgetown has not gotten in this ball game, Jim, are any of those backdoor cuts. They were so successful in getting against North Carolina.
Trying to get one right there with Wallace, and a foul against the Buckeyes, and it is against Butler.
The Ohio State foul was called number 14, Jamar.
You know, the Hoyas have won 8 straight and 19 of their last 20. Meanwhile, Ohio State comes in with 21 straight wins. Here's a pass, almost got away, but Green brings it back out.
Matching up in this defense. Oden down inside, waiting to block anything that comes his way on the drive.
Dump it over the top. Sapp got free. Right over Butler they go.
And you notice that passing angle that Green has because of that size, Jim. He looks down and really gets good passing angles. Nobody really doubting him outside that time. And here comes Oden trying to get that retrieve inside.
And Ewing gets a piece of the hand.
Big advantage right now to Ohio State on their end of the floor. Not much Coach Thompson can do about it because Hibbert's not going to go back in this game anytime soon. Probably try to wait to under the 10-minute mark.
Got Butler wide open over here in the corner. Sam closes in on him. Conley trying to create something. And that's off the foot of Wallace.
There was Lewis. Didn't move his feet, reached for the ball, Jim, and didn't have that good jump shot position that he's been having lately where he's had those 3 20-point-plus games.
They've contained them so far in this one. 1 of 3 from the field. That's it for Lewis. Total of 5 points. It's past Summers on the baseline, working at corner.
Good ball handlers on the floor right now for Ohio State. It's that half hook.
Greg Oden.
Right over the top of Ewing. And this is not Patrick Sr. that we're talking about right here, who would have had the size to go up on that shot. Oden has a huge advantage now with Hibbert off.
Oden with 6, all in this half.
Again, Green just too passive.
Sack. And that is going to be off Georgetown, off of Summers. David Leidy's going to check in here. He had a productive first half, not offensively, but certainly his defensive presence is a factor. Rivers back for the Georgetown Hoyas. And here comes Hibbert.
Well, they're going to go at the 12-minute mark, figuring the game's getting away from him a little bit with Oden having a big advantage here. Another thing now, Jim, Oden has played consecutive minutes here. Well, he's almost going to have 8 minutes without sitting down, so he's due for a little bit of a rest. See if Thad Matta takes him out.
The guys gained 5 points with Hibbert out that last stretch.
Gutsy move, kind of like the moves that Coach used in the North Carolina game with Hibbert, even though he was in some foul trouble.
That's over Hibbert, and he's got the soft touch going now.
Jim, the soft touch, but the really quick feet. He exploded around Hibbert. Hibbert fighting for position.
And they dump it into him. Hibbert kicks it back out. Again to Hibbert. And there's a call, and a basket counts.
And a foul on Oden.
His third. Oh, what a move, bringing Hibbert back in. They equalize things in the pivot.
And
aerial coverage is brought to you by Goodyear. Atlanta doing a fabulous job of hosting this week. The last couple of days been so lively out in downtown Atlanta. The city draped with all the Final Four memorabilia. Here's the third foul on Oden.
No question on the foul, Jim, whatsoever. And one of the good things that Hibbert did, he felt he didn't have good position on Oden when he first received the ball in the low post, kicked it out, and immediately got back in to set his feet. Smart move on his part.
Hibbert can make it a three-point play. You saw Oden sitting. That one rattles out. Lewis comes in to snatch it. So they've only been on the floor, Billy, together so far 8 minutes in this game.
And Jim, one of the things that Oden has to do, and it's part of the natural maturation player problem of learning how to be a player. He knew he was probably going to come out there to be rested a little bit. You cannot afford to pick up the foul. Let the man score so you can come back and get out the foul trouble.
Lewis steps back. Hunter puts it back up and in.
No block out right now. And again, I'm going to go back to Green. He's in a situation now where he has got to start looking for some shots.
Hibbert, and again, he'll have a chance for a three-point play. Missed at the line the last time, but he'll get another chance. The basket counts. That one's on Leidy, his second. Quit smoking. Well, for the first time, scientists reveal how to crack into your own DNA to make it easier. Important details Monday on the CBS Evening News.
And Jim, if you're Leidy in a case like that, and Hibbert has the ball down so low, the key is not to try to block his shot or interfere in any way. Try to get underneath him and draw a charge. The man's much too big to try to go up and get the ball.
You know, Ewing with the offensive rebound, and it can be a very big trip for the Hoyas if they can hit another shot. They're over 70% from the field in the second half. Hibbert calling for it. They lob it over Hunter. Hibbert bouncing out, and a foul again. That's 3 he's drawn the last 3 times he's touched it.
Well, he was held there, or otherwise he'd have had an easy basket. So at least for Ohio State, they put him on the line. Thad Matta really trying to get on the officials right now. He better be careful. He wants it called the same way on both ends, but his big man's sitting. So the referees are not going to pay much attention to that.
It's on Lewis, his first. Actually, they called it on Conley, so that's number 1 on Conley.
Maybe Thad Matta will think about coming back with Twilliger to get a little bigger body on the floor right now, because Hibbert's taking advantage of the smaller Ohio State team.
They bring back in DeJuan Summers, the freshman from Baltimore.
Very quiet today offensively, Jim.
Struggled in that first half. Well, was 0 for 5, actually. Didn't hit any of them.
Brought down that Georgetown percentage. Without his 0 for 5, they'd have been up over almost to 50%.
Yeah, the rest of the team was 9 for 15 in the first half without Summers. Hibbert 1 for 4 from the line here in the last minute.
And a pretty good free throw shooter, right at 70%, so somewhat unusual. There's that 2-3 zone by Georgetown trying to protect their big man.
Lewis loves the shot, but it slides off the rim. And that's off Georgetown. Going back to Ohio State.
Shot clock, and if you're Conley right now, ball in your hands, penetrate and kick out. Try to get Lewis some better looks. Lewis felt he was foul on that shot. Jim, it would have been 3. Because Hunter's not going to be a big scorer on the floor. So you're surrounding it. Butler and Lewis being the 2 guys that can hit that jump shot. More so than Lighty.
Conley with 1 basket in this half.
Trying to orchestrate his team to get on the perimeter here. There's Hunter, walked.
Well, he saw that he had a chance for an open jumper, but there was so much room, he almost wanted to take it to the basket, and all that confusion in his mind led to the travel.
You think he saw number 55 standing there and changed his mind a little bit?
I know I did.
Yeah. So that's a pretty big fella in the way. There's Hibbert again. He'll pass, and then he cuts down into the basket. Rivers missed him.
Back out high to touch it. Try to set a screen, not utilized. Wallace step back 3 to tie the game at 44.
How often does that man in this tournament come up with the big jump shot? We saw it against North Carolina. The shot that actually set up the win. He loves that little step-back jumper.
An Alabama rainmaker, they call it, around that Hoya team. He's hit at least 2 threes in every tournament game. Conley coming back, and too strong. So the Hoyas, with 9:20 to go, have tied it again and a chance to lead. They led ever so briefly in this half by 1.
You want to get as much out of Hibbert as they can right now, because you'll have to come out for a little rest.
Summers spins out. Tap, no. Rebound, Lighty.
Great job by Lighty. Almost picked up that foul, and Hibbert over his back. Hibbert's doing a lot of running right now. When a big guy gets tired, he commits one of those cheap fouls.
Lewis fires it. And whistle away from the ball.
Let's see who this foul is.
That's going to be it's on Hibbert.
Jim, I said when a big man gets tired, he picks up the cheap foul. That's exactly what happened here.
His 4th. So Hibbert, well, that strategy of putting Oden down, letting him sit for a while and see what Hibbert can do. Now Oden's back in.
But Hibbert was running a long time. He really probably should have got him down on the bench for the rest. Big guys just have a tendency that they get tired and they start to reach and pick up those cheap fouls.
Now let's see what they look like with Oden back on the floor.
Green on him down low.
Muscles his way for the shot and the lead. 10 points all in the half, all in this half for Oden.
Oden running back down court that time with a lot of energy.
Wallace, can he do it again? Long. Here comes Lewis, and the Buckeyes have the numbers. Lighty waits, puts it up, 4-point lead.
Jim Leidy is having an excellent game.
Excellent tournament.
Yep, I realize that he's not got a lot of points, but almost everything he's doing is positive for his team. Excellent defense on greens, getting some key rebounds. Just having a really solid ball game off that bench. I realize Cook was the sixth man of the year for Ohio State, but Leidy's been the sixth man in this tournament.
Over the top, Wallace. Dish, corner, Summers. He's just plain off here today. And a little reach in by Summers may have prevented a fast break. No, Butler still tries and gets it.
Very much underrated player. We saw him last year have a tremendous game against Iowa in the Big Ten Tournament Championship. He is capable. Thad Matta loved it.
Timeout, Georgetown. As soon as Hibbert picks up his fourth, Buckeyes go on a 6-0 run. Jim Nance with Billy Packer here at semifinal game number 1. Here is the fourth foul they called on Hibbert.
Jim, you're going to see Hibbert. Now, you notice he's been going up and down the floor, really moving himself. Kind of tired right now. Probably should have been on the bench. And watch him here. Instead of moving his feet and disengaging, he just reaches and hangs on and picks up a very cheap foul.
There he goes. The field goal percentage is pretty even, but the Hoyas have turned it over 12 times versus only 7 for the Buckeyes.
Well, and you have Georgetown holds teams to 38%, which was 3rd in the Big East, but 5th in the nation. So Ohio State shooting much better than most opponents do against Georgetown.
Remember how Green in that first half didn't even get involved in the offense till the last couple of minutes. He has not, again in this half, even attempted a shot, much like what happened in the first half until the last couple of minutes.
Then back to the maturation process of learning how to be a player. Green hasn't yet learned how to take over a game.
5 on the shot clock. Yep. Sapp in trouble. Wallace with 1, has to launch it.
Nice range on that shot.
Look at Oden chase down that rebound and snap the outlet to Lewis. Oden trailing. No call, and he missed. Oh, there is. Yes, it is.
They're going to call it the other way on Green.
Boy,
where is Matta? Matta's out on the floor. So you got a timeout here?
Yeah, you got what was the under 8 timeout. Georgetown had called the last one, but it's going against Green, his second. Here it is.
Green is sitting there waiting for him. The big man was above that rim, wasn't he?
Ooh. He'll be shooting 2 free throws after the break. There is your game reset. John Thompson has, during the break, ushered in Hibbert back to the Hoya lineup with his 4 fouls. Here it is. Do you agree with the call, Billy?
Well, the call is a matter of, did Green get there before Oden had left the ground to start this shot? In the opinion of the referee, Green had not. A lot of guts to get in the way of a man 275 pounds coming down at you. One of the things about Oden, and I've talked about, he had to play one-handed for much of this season. He made 16 straight foul shots left-handed against Northwestern earlier this year. And what was so unusual when we saw him play against Florida, he always shot, even when it was left-handed, with the right foot in front of his left, because he says he's off balance because one leg is somewhat shorter than the other, and it just felt more comfortable to him.
And they only got 1 out of 2 that time, but the lead is back to 7 with 6.5 minutes to play. It was at this point last Sunday, with about 6 to play against North Carolina, Georgetown stormed back, found a run in the late going to beat North Carolina in overtime.
Their run is going to have to start with this man right here, Green. There's good play by Oden not to get the foul, not this time.
And Green's first shot of the second half drops for a basket.
And Jim, no excuse for that. For Green to have his first shot with 6:08 to go in the second half, a guy as important as he is to this offense. And how important was that foul being called the other way? Because Oden had 4, you wouldn't have to bring Hibbert back into the game. So a critical call.
They still got the advantage there. 3 Oden, 4 Hibbert. Butler with a 3, and they have now matched their largest lead of the game. Jamar Butler.
Georgetown holds teams to 30% from 3. Good luck for Butler. Butler doing a good job taking away Wallace's open looks. Staying right with him when he goes outside.
Hibbert.
Are you kidding? Wow! Are you kidding?
Just inside of the 3-point line.
And if you're Ohio State, you say, you know, go ahead, take another one of those.
15 for Hibbert, 7 in this half.
He has not taken a three-point shot all year. He is 0 from 0 in that respect, but that was a little inside.
Back to Oden. Will Hibbert trying to get him out of the game. He waits, puts it up wildly, and Green comes out with it.
Oden's going to have to bust down the floor because Hibbert's already waiting.
Stripped by Lewis. Conley. Sapp defending. Conley shot. No, they're going to count it.
How about that speed by Conley? He was going neck to neck and dribbling the ball. Sapp right beside him. No question that ball had hit the rim when it was on the way down. I mean, hit the backboard on the way down.
Back to an 8-point game with 4:40.
That's some speed when you can dribble faster than Sapp can run.
Trying to earn a place in the championship game. It's Hibbert. And a nice move. He shows the outside game, shows a little soft hook.
Well, Oden hasn't played against a man of his ability in the low post this year, and he was a no factor in shot blocking there.
How about Oden saying this week it's the first time he's ever played against anyone taller? This matchup with Hibbert.
Well, here we see Conley and Oden working off of 45 straight as high school players at the end of their career. Now come into this game with 21 straight. They're used to winning big games.
Lewis explodes to the basket, and that's off Ohio State. Back to Georgetown.
Smart play by Hibbert, not trying to foul him. Remember that foul Hibbert picked up in the first half on that drive that Lewis made. Green's asking for the ball. See if it's rotated to him. Here he comes.
He's got Lighty defending.
He asked for it.
Puts it up. Too strong. Hibbert tips it over to Oden. Now you talk about how few shots he's had. He's had Lighty on him most of the game. Here's Butler with the number 3. Long rebound. Tapped out to Conley. Lewis wants it. Guns it. Puts it up. No. Lighty on the tip. Conley tries to pass it quickly to Oden, and Georgetown's on the run.
Got numbers for one of the first times in this ball game.
Easy layup for Sapp. Ewing with the assist.
Ohio State has had tremendous defensive balance in this game. That's one of the few times today Georgetown's gotten a breakout.
Got it back down to 4.
Down to 4, and remember the key, Jim, the rest of the way is going to be, does Hibbert pick up a foul in the next couple of possessions, or can he stay on the floor for this last 3 minutes?
Butler in the lane. Oden up, too strong. Tipped around, out to Sapp. Here comes Georgetown. Hoyer's trying to rally again.
Good cut to the basket by Ewing to clean things out for Hibbert.
It's Green. Lighty couldn't get away from the Hibbert pick.
There's
Big
the foul
call right here. It's going to be the 4th on Oden.
But 2:36 to go. Might not be that important. Oden needs a little rest anyway.
It is number 4 on Oden. And the Hoyas have trimmed that 8-point lead down to 4. Georgetown about to inbound out of the break. The arrow belongs to the Buckeyes. And you can discover friends you never knew you had. Win an NCAA men's Final Four trip for 2 to next year's Final Four only at mycokerewards.com/NCAA. So 4-4, Hibbert and Oden, Billy.
Yep, 4-4, and that timeout helped both teams in this respect, Jim. Both big men really needed a little break right here. I realize they've been sitting a long time in regard to the foul trouble they've been in, but they were really putting a lot of energy right out now. As Hibbert comes back refreshed, so does Oden. 2:36 to go. Only 5 team fouls on both clubs, so that's something extremely important. Missed Oden on a drive.
Green shot blocked. They're going to call a charge on Green. That's his 3rd.
Well, he does not get the charge on Oden. I think he was looking ahead of himself right here on this shot. No question he charges right in.
It's David Lighty who drew it.
Lighty, who has had a terrific all-around game without having huge numbers. Georgetown stays in the 2-3 zone.
Ohio State's missed its last 4 from the field. Oden takes it just inside the free throw line. Oh, what a break he got right there up the back of the rim, up high and back down.
Well, about 1 step inside the shot that Hibbert made on him, so a little payback.
Wallace thought about it. Now back out Sapp.
Butler's doing a great job getting in his face, not giving him any room for the shots.
Here's Hibbert. Oden has to be careful. Tipped around out to Conley. Ohio State racing with the 6-point lead. Wraparound pass, and yes, and one. It's Lighty.
And that was Ewing that made the foul, but what made the play was Conley's decision-making as he cuts inside with the ball and at the last second distributes. Tremendous decision by Conley, and there's Lighty, who we've talked about time and time again, Jim, on the defensive end, plus coming up with a big play.
Summers in for Ewing, who collects his second foul, so David Lighty can come up with the crucial 3-point play and also could give the Buckeyes their biggest lead of the game. Ohio State only 6 of 12 from the line for the game, and now they do. They have the 9-point advantage, largest so far.
Jim, with 1:41 to go, would you have taken Oden out of the game, let him just play in the offensive end, but he and Hibbert are going to stay out there.
It's Wallace. Puts it up, 3, no. Oden snatches it out of the air. That's his 8th rebound.
Good, strong, two-handed rebound by Oden.
And now in no hurry.
He's got Sapp on him down low. They've got to get him the ball. Can't quite get there.
Kick by Hibbert. 1:14 left in the game.
One of the few times Conley didn't produce what he wanted because he knew he had his old high school teammate wide open inside.
Timeout, Ohio State. Buckeyes will inbound with a 9-point lead. 1:14 left. Vote for your Pontiac game-changing performance of the tournament at ncaasports.com/Pontiac. $100,000 scholarship contribution from Pontiac is on the line. You can vote.
Jim, a key thing for Ohio State in that timeout is to let all the players know they only have 5 team fouls, so they can commit one the next time they're on defense in case somebody had a little breakaway or an easy shot and not put Georgetown on the line.
We had 21 on the shot clock coming out of the break. And still, they're going to want to use it all. That's last touch by Wallace. Thought he might get the call the other way. 12 on the shot clock.
Conley goes inside looking for somebody to dish to, doesn't find it, so he's ready to bring it back out. Down to 12 seconds here.
Over to Lighty.
Butler on a shot. Clears out. Nice situation with a second point guard on the floor.
1 minute from the championship game. Butler puts it up. No. Green, good job of muscling for that rebound. Out battling Oden. Summers slashing, taking it up. Oden says no way. Green now lays it in. And a timeout, Georgetown.
Jim, you see these glimpses of Green offensively, but it's only once in a while, not in a dominating fashion.
Georgetown called that timeout, still with 2 timeouts. We might see a lot of Mike Conley Jr. at the line here. And his mom and dad are here. They're Mike and Renee.
Of course, his dad was here before in Atlanta for the Olympics, where he did not get the gold. And Mike said, I was only 8 years old, and I didn't come to Atlanta not to get a gold this time. We'll see what happens.
Of course, he had won the gold in Barcelona, and Mike Jr. said, I'm going to get the gold in Atlanta.
And that's right.
For Butler. Looking for help. It's over to Lewis. Can he resist? Nope, he's fouled first. Got poked in the eye.
He did get poked in the eye, and all that Ohio State was trying to do there with a nice lead that they can protect is utilize some of that clock. But how nice is it to have, Jim, 2 guards. Butler last year was a top-notch guard. You see him get hit in the eye right here. I think he's going to be all right. Butler was a top-notch guard in the Big Ten last year. Now you take Conley, you put both of those guys on the floor at the same time, and you've got 2 outstanding point guards. When you take a look on the year.
Hold on, so 1-1 here, Billy, so they're not the double bonus. Crucial first shot for Lewis, still trying to shake off that eye injury.
78% free throw shooter.
Gets the roll.
Jim, the point I was making about these two is you've got Conley with 226 assists, and you've got Butler with 137 assists, both in better than a 2-to-1 ratio assist to turnovers. That's a terrific asset for a ball club, particularly the situation we have right now.
2 big ones by Lewis, and timeout Ohio State. Conley has 6 assists and only 1 turnover in this Final Four game. Timeouts now for each side remaining. John Thompson completing here the first father-son tandem to ever lead teams to the Final Four. Took the Hoyas to the Final Four in just his 101st game as the head coach at Georgetown. Bringing back the glory.
Got to think three and get it up quickly here, but Butler has done a great job taking away the three from Wallace.
And that one, no. Tipped out long. Wallace got a good look at this one. Yes, this time.
He did, because Butler left him for a second to go for that long rebound.
Timeout Hoyas. They've got it down to 6, but only 21 seconds to go. Billy, you talked about the great effort by the 6th man of the day. Talking about David Lighty. That man knows a little something about 6th-man category. John Havlicek.
Yep, John Havlicek in his first college game, I'm very familiar with it because I played against him, was the 6th man. He was not a, can you imagine, not a starter at Ohio State first game of his sophomore year, but obviously led that team to great heights. And that team in 62 won 22 straight. If Ohio State hangs on here, they will tie that record 22 straight.
And another foul to send Lewis to the line with, again, it's still a 1-and-1.
Isn't it amazing? We find Hibbert coming back in the game, Jim. Both big men who were not a factor at all in that first half to speak of because of foul trouble. Hibbert getting the advantage over Oden, who had not scored at all. Both are going to end up on the floor as this game ends.
Yeah. Green just picked up his 4th. Again, 1-and-1.
You look out on the court right now, and if you're going to try to foul anybody on this team, it probably is Conley. But he's pretty quick with the ball. And if you're Georgetown, that's about all you can do now. Try to score quickly with 3 and foul immediately.
Lewis coming up big at the line. 4 out of 4 here in the last minute. Wallace.
No time for that.
Sapp. Back out Wallace. 5 seconds. Not going to be enough time for the Hoyas. They take the timeout with just inside 4 seconds to go. But unless they got a 5-point play, it's going to be Ohio State on this floor Monday night. The Georgetown bench, including Hibbert, knowing that the end of this great season is near. And that's Green. The matchup in the pivot, Billy, who got the better of it today?
Well, Jim, I don't think that either one dominated the game on either end of the floor. I'd say probably pretty much of a standoff.
Yep. And they get the quick foul here on Cook.
At times, both played well, but we were not looking at Bill Russell, Bill Walton, or Kareem Jabbar on either end.
You know, a lot of people kind of want to put them in that category.
Not yet.
Really fast.
Not yet. Not even close to yet.
Do you see that potential, though?
No. No, Jimmy, I do not.
Okay.
I think that we were talking about a different caliber of player.
2, it's double bonus. And Cook gets a bunch of bounces. Gets his first point of the game.
Cook, as we said, 6th man of the year in the Big Ten, but today the 6th man of the year, and maybe the key player in this ball game today was Lighty.
David Lighty, got to give him credit for putting the clamps on Green and really preventing him from being able to create any kind of shot of his own.
Yeah, not taking anything away from his defensive presence on Green, but Green took himself out of the ball game offensively as well.
Well, here you go. Shot at the pivot, doesn't matter. The Buckeyes have won 22 straight. They need one more for the national championship. The Buckeyes buy a ticket to Monday night's final. Well, you know, Billy, the last 3 Big East teams that had made it to the Final Four had one championship.
Well, that streak ends in Ohio State, a team that we showed John Havlicek that win the 3 straight Final Fours. Finds that man Oden with another chance to show what he can do.
We got the Big Ten champions in the championship game. Will it be against Florida? They played earlier this year. Will it be a BCS rematch, or will it be UCLA? Gators, Bruins coming up later. Greg Gumbel next on CBS.
The Ohio State Buckeyes have advanced to the national championship game for the first time since 1962. They defeat Georgetown by a score of 67-60. Coming up next, UCLA against the Florida Gators. Our tip time is set at 8:47 Eastern Time. Welcome back to the Georgia Dome here in Atlanta, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel. Here are the Chevrolet most valuable players from game one. For Georgetown, Roy Hibbert, 19 points on 9 of 13 shooting from the field. And for Ohio State, Mike Conley Jr., who scored 15 points and added 6 assists and 5 rebounds. Right now, back down to the floor, Jim and Billy are standing by with a couple of happy Buckeyes. Jim?
All right, here with the 2 freshmen, head coach Thad Matta as well. You're going to Monday night's championship game, Mike. You felt pretty relaxed out there, I would take it, just watching you, man. How did it feel playing in the Final Four?
It felt real good. You know, we're real comfortable in these kind of situations, and you know, I'm happy to be here and looking forward to Monday.
What did you feel the difference was in this game?
I think the tempo of the game, when we got it moving up and down and got some easy layups, I think that really changed it.
Billy?
That, congratulations on what you do. What did it feel like we watched you when Greg got that second foul? You almost came off your chair there. How difficult was it to keep the big man in the game?
You know, he came out and I told him, I said, get ready, you may have to play with 2, and the other guys did a tremendous job to get us a 4-point lead at halftime.
Greg, no fun sitting over there, but a terrific job in that second half coming back.
Yeah, it's definitely no fun. I just sat back and watched my teammates take over. They did a great job in the first half, rebounding without me in there. And the second half, I just wanted to come in and impact the game.
Well, best of luck, guys. You are where you want to be in that championship game. Congratulations.
Congratulations. We'll see you Monday night. Thank you, guys, for waiting. We'll continue here from Atlanta. As you can see, the Bruins and the Gators are on the floor. We'll continue on CBS in just a moment.